Hey everybody, welcome back to History Student Reacts. Today we'll be watching Wacky War Tactics in a Nutshell by BlueJay. Now quite a few of you guys seem to have enjoyed my recent BlueJay reaction, and so I thought, let's do some more. He's got a couple of these Wacky War Tactics videos, so I thought this would be an interesting one to jump into, because there certainly were some strange and wacky war tactics throughout the entirety of our history, even today some would say. Now, if you guys end up enjoying this one, I'd appreciate it if you'd leave a like on the video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my Patreon, which is linked down below, and will give you access to exclusive reaction videos. Now, with all that out of the way, let's jump right into this reaction.
When it comes to expressing one's creativity, people often pursue activities like drawing or writing, or a lackluster combination of the two. But those
Wow, 4K subscribers. He's got a lot more now.
of us with a more chaotic alignment express ourselves in other ways. Jimmy, why don't you draw me your favorite thing you did this summer? By catapulting corpses into the besieged city walls, not only would we be disposing of our dead, but we'd be spreading fear and disease amongst the enemy's ranks at the same time.
Oh.
2 birds with 1 stone, mother! You need to stop spending time with the neighbor boy.
Pretty sure that sort of thing has been done more than one time throughout history. I mean, sort of a form of biological warfare, tossing bodies, sometimes sick bodies, back into a besieged city. That can do some real damage. I mean, both physically and psychologically.
As Dieter F. Uchtdorf once said, the desire to create is one of the deepest yearnings of the human soul. And so is murder. So while humans have been battling for thousands of years, it's only natural that we've also sought more unique ways of getting those dubs. So today, we're going to explore some of my favorite military tactics used in history.
Alrighty.
The SMS Cap Trafalgar was a German civilian ocean liner that was repurposed into a warship for World War I.
With that name, Trafalgar, I'm surprised it's German and not British.
Converting ocean liners to troop transport or medical ships was common, but fitting them for war was kind of like giving a kid a gun. Sure, a child soldier can produce the same stopping power as your average GI, but let's just say Rambo would have been a much shorter movie if he was mowing down toddlers instead of Burmese soldiers.
God.
The Cap Trafalgar was tasked with taking on British merchant ships off the coast of South America, and to do this, they came up with a unique strategy. Using some newspaper pictures they found, they disguised their ship as the British ocean liner, the RMS Carmania, and used the ruse to sneak up on merchant vessels.
Yeah, not super honorable, but we are talking about the First World War here. There were not a ton of restrictions in terms of what people were doing. In fact, you got a lot of restrictions after the war because a lot of these armies, these countries, were doing some extremely unsavory stuff.
Newly disguised Cap Trafalgar set off on its first voyage, feeling all cheeky, and soon encountered its first victim.
Oh.
This is awkward. Dialing the clock back a few hundred years, we have the probably fictitious, but I'm still going to include it because fuck it story of the town of Rothenburg ob der Tauber in Germany. During the 30 Years' War, the Catholic Army wanted to destroy the town because they resisted the church.
Yeah, I mean, you're living anywhere within the Holy Roman Empire, or sort of modern-day Germany, during the 30 Years' War, you were having a pretty bad time. There'd be armies marching through your land probably more than once, as they'd be marching back and forth and back and forth. There was a good chance, in fact, a very good chance, that your property, your farm, say if you're a farmer, a peasant, as most people were, would have been burned down, destroyed, looted, and there's a pretty good chance you would have been killed as well. 30 Years' War, extremely brutal for this region of Europe, sort of Central Europe, like I said, mostly modern-day Germany, Holy Roman Empire at that time.
We have come in the name of God. You are now saved. The town council attempted to change the Count of Tilly's mind with a gift of local wine, 3 1/4 liters worth. The count declared that if anyone could drink the lot of it in one sitting, he would spare the town. So the councilman gave it to the mayor, who proceeded to abuse his liver more than an Olympic gymnastics team. By God, you've done it! You've saved the town! I did what now? As we've all learned.
Yeah, well, you know, usually alcoholism, not good, doesn't really come with many upsides. But there, we say how it can be used for heroism, right? The mayor of that town, well, he put his proclivities towards saving his people. We can also see in that story how arbitrary a lot of the violence was. You've got a lot of counts and aristocrats and sovereigns marching their armies around, killing people for a whole host of reasons. I mean, at the root of it, in some ways, is religion, Protestantism versus Catholicism, but a whole lot more gets wrapped up in that conflict. Like I said, a lot of it pretty arbitrary, and I'd say the religious differences on some level are arbitrary as well, or at least they do not warrant that style of violence, that type escalation.
From the renowned American philosopher Bob the Builder, having the right tools can fix any problem. Leaky faucet? Have a wrench handy. Clogged toilet? Use a plunger. Will to live? And of course, nothing quite solves the problem of pesky British shipping like a German U-boat. These tin cans of death were responsible for the sinking of 10 million tons of shipping over the course of World War I.
Wow. You know, we look back on the U-boats, and I think our perspective on them today is that they were a really bad idea because they incensed neutral nations, including, most obviously, the United States, right? It was a big reason the U.S. got involved in the war, which was really, really, really bad for the French. Now, sometimes it makes me think, well, why would they even use it? It clearly wasn't worth it. They knew the risk, but then looking at the numbers they just gave us reveals us why they used those U-boats and why Germany was so continually tempted even when they knew what the risks were, because at a certain time they were really effective. They were sinking a lot of the shipping that was going to Britain, you know, an island that relies on that shipping. And so, you know, they're having a massive effect, but of course, in the end, it really was not worth it for Germany.
The most successful commanders holding records to this day. But the British were like, we're also then, and decided to come up with a plan to counter these sneaky little buggers. And boy, did they have some ideas. Okay, welcome team. As you all know, you have been gathered here today due to your outstanding military expertise to address the pressing issue of German U-boat operation throughout the open blue. These Kraut underwater vehicles have been terrorizing our supply lines for too long, and the Crown will have none of it. Now, gentlemen, let's hear some of your ideas, and remember, there are no stupid answers. How about we have men go out on boats, and when they see a periscope, one throws a bag over it while the other hammers it as hard as they can. I say we send Britain's finest swimmers with sharp hammers to whale away at the U-boats and send them to the depths. Why don't we use our birds and sea lions? More specifically, train them to chase periscopes and identify U-boats.
Okay, these types of guys, intelligence types, especially the CIA in America, but these intelligence types, they're always trying to use animals for some wacky intelligence purpose. It's like, guys, give it up already. There are a few animals us humans can train to do something useful, but most of those animals are not capable of taking out U-boats or doing spy work, and a lot of animals we really can't train that well. I just feel like whenever I watch one of these videos where it's a bunch of intel-type guys, like I said, CIA or whatever other intelligence agencies or intelligence army guys, they're always going towards using animals for some weird intelligence gathering purpose, and it almost always doesn't work. I, never say never, but,
Shit on the periscopes. Train seagulls to shit on the periscopes and force them to surface. Let's just fucking paint the ocean. Just all of it. So when the periscope comes up, it's blinded by the paint.
Wow.
I stand corrected. You may think I'm joking, but they actually went through with some of these plans. Radios were well developed by the time World War II came around, but Germans had the annoying habit of listening into Allied transmissions. Hey, can you guys, stop listening into our transmissions, please? Or we'll have to take action. Oh yeah? You and what pigeons? Allies turned to the tried but true method of using homing pigeons to help deliver sensitive material. The plan was to parachute...
There you go. I will say, I was just talking about how oftentimes these animal plans don't work, but carrier pigeons could do the job. Not always, and not always super effectively, but this is an example of, this plan actually worked in some places at some times.
Shoot the pigeons into France with instructions for the locals on how to use them to deliver intel across the English Channel. And if you're wondering how exactly one goes about parachuting pigeons into a war zone, When you stupid, the answer is lingerie. Or more specifically, the lingerie company
What?
Maidenform. That's right, the Allies hired a lingerie company to spice up their production, shifting from making corsets and bras to pigeon parachutes and vests.
Wow.
Unfortunately, this tactic led to many deaths, as pigeons that landed unseen by locals would be trapped in a straitjacket of sexy pigeon lingerie. So another method was devised, where this time, pigeons would be strapped to the chest of a paratrooper and were kept alive by the power of friendship. When the supply of pigeon corsets ran out, paratroopers would just stuff the little guys in their socks, cutting a hole for them to peek their heads out of. Cut a few more for the wings and boom, you got yourself some flying shoes. Compared to the rest of these stories, this strategy was by far the most effective, with an estimated 95% message delivery rate due to homing pigeons' uncanny knack for finding their way home.
Hey, like I said, the pigeon plan, one of these few animal plans that actually worked. Pigeons, they're reliable.
Not so much BlueJays, though. You can prove them wrong any day now, Dad. So, in conclusion, while military masterminds have devised some of history's most effective strategies, such as the Greek Trojan horse or the Soviet defense of Stalingrad, you should hide your pet from the next RTC, kitty.
Yep, that's exactly what I'm saying. There's always weird animal training or testing in these types of videos.
Because it's only a matter of time before Frederick II straps a bra on your Siberian Husky and ships him off to Afghanistan. 7 out of 10 stars.
Alrighty, well, there you go. That is the end of this episode. Got to see some of these very strange, often unsuccessful, but not exclusively unsuccessful war tactics. I'm excited to see more BlueJay videos and more of these wacky war tactics videos. I had a good time with this one. If you guys did, I'd appreciate it if you would leave a like on the video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my Patreon, which is linked down below. I hope we get more war tactics throughout history. There's a lot of sort of these modern, wacky ideas and tactics covered in these types of videos because there is more literature to back it up. We have more information. But I always think that some of the weirdest stuff, and some of the stuff that's most foreign to us, is throughout history, throughout the Middle Ages, in times of ancient history. They had some really weird stuff going on that really makes you raise an eyebrow. Anyway, had a good time with this one. Hope you guys did as well. I hope you're all having a great day today, and I'll see you all again next time. Goodbye.